Stuff with the wheels, the tires. We polish the paint, replace them with old trim and mold them, which they don't even make this anymore. So this is extremely hard to find, but
What's up and welcome back to another video. We're at Marion's Automotive, Marion. Why a 1989 VW Cabriolet?
well, it's the one the wife picked out. It's a unique car. You don't see it all the time. You know, I made a promise to my wife when I opened this business a year ago when we sold her 1966 Mustang, so before they couldn't buy that alignment rack and the alignment machine, that I'd repair back. So she had a solid year to think about what car she wanted. And I guess we was watching a movie one night. It's called License to Drive. And there's a scene in there where at the end of it, Corey Haynes, I believe, jumps into VW Cabriolet and cruises off into the sunset.
Don't wait up, guys!
My wife fell in love with that car, you know, so it was hard for her to part with the one that she had sold, which was a 66 Mustang. I built it for her when we was 20 years old. We drove off on our wedding in that car, and it just got to be to the point where, you know, it didn't have power steering, it didn't have power brakes, it didn't have air conditioning. She was 20 when we got the car, so that wasn't a big problem, but now that we're going into our mid-30s, no AC, no power steering, no power brakes can be a real deal breaker. So even though the car had sentimental attachment to me and my wife, and you know, had been with us for a while, it's just a point in time where it's like, you know, the car's either going to need to be updated, modernized, and maintained, or it's no longer deemed safe for the road. The tires on the car are older than my children. I wouldn't have my children get in the car, so I just figured, you know, she had driven it once in 2 years. We would sell it, get the equipment that I needed to launch my business, and then I made her a promise that, you know, when she found something she liked, that I'd try my best to get it for her, and you know, stay true to my word. And that car just so happened to be a 1989 Volkswagen Cabriolet. So,
And you wound up selling the Mustang for this alignment machine.
yeah, for the alignment machine, and that's kind of what launched the business. So it was a neat piece of equipment. I know it was hard for her to part with that car, but I don't think she's going to be thinking much about it anymore. I think she's going to be very happy with this little car. It's got AC, it's got power steering, you know, it's got power brakes, the tires on it are good. We're going to do a pretty cool build with it, you know, make it a nice little cruiser. You won't be launching it, you know, lifting the front wheels off the ground, but one is a front wheel drive vehicle, but two, it don't have that kind of motor. It gets about 30 miles to the gallon, so it's a little putt-putt, you know. It's just a fun car. It's got a good spirit to it, you know. It's just a happy little fun car to drive, pack around town. But when we're done, it'll be a good-looking little fun car. So that's the goal.
Maybe a possibility of an engine swap.
I was looking at a VR26 maybe in the future, stick shift. It's a possibility, you know. I'd like her to get some time behind the wheel before we go and spend a whole lot more time putting it in the shop, you know. So maybe after a year or two, after we get the cosmetic build done and the car's reliable, you know, once she's had some time behind the wheel and she don't feel like it's, you know, been sitting in the shop since the day she bought it, then yeah, we'll go ahead and do an engine swap or something like that. Make it a sleeper, sneaky. So. We'll go around the car and just kind of give it a look over, see what it looks like, you know, from stock right now, and then kind of give you the rundown of what we envision the build coming out when it's done, and you know, take y'all along for the journey with us. I think it'd be something cool to see, you know, something unique. You don't see a whole lot of these, not in Southeast Louisiana. I haven't seen any of these. You know, I've seen a lot of really nice cars, but just you don't see these much. I guess it's more of a beach or a northern type of car, or if anybody had them down here, you just got rusted out over time because take a look outside right now, and you'll notice it's pretty wet around here all the time. So those little cars, they were economy cars. They wasn't really meant to be collectibles. It was just like the Honda Civic of its day. It was an economy car, got good gas, and it really wasn't sought out as a car to be saved and collected. So
I haven't seen any of these. This is the first one I've seen. Tell them the history with the seats and the flat.
The seats would come factory with like a plaid color on it because it was supposed to look like golfer's pants, and that was kind of like a funny thing, I guess. They never had leather wasn't the up option for the racing series of the Golf. It was actually plaid pants, so plaid seats. So it's just kind of a cool piece of humor for the car's history. But let's get a look around on it, dude. Let's just kind of show what we're working with. It's not a whole lot to see right now, but it is it's something to see, you know. So you get a look at it. This is kind of the build that we have in mind. You know, looking at the car, it's a solid car. It has no rust. It came out of Dublin, Georgia, and my wife had found the car, so we went and drove 10 hours up to Georgia to meet with a lady about the car and took a look at it, and it was in decent enough shape for me to think, you know, this is worth sinking the money into. So body was solid, engine was mechanically sound, AC works, you know. Take a look at the trim, the interior, it's all there, it's clean. We got to do some stuff with the wheels, the tires. We're going to put 17-inch wheels on it with 205 45 17-inch wheels. We're going to do a coil-over drop that's going to bring it down to about 1.5 inches, and then we're going to try and buff and polish the paint and replace some of this old trim and molding, which they don't even make this anymore, so this is extremely hard to find. But in the current condition that it's in, I really don't care for it being on the car much, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a rubber molding inlay in there, and then do a polish and paint on the 3-stage polish compound and paint on it. And just try to freshen up what we got, what we're working with, and then you know, scrub the headliner and give it a good detailing on the interior. Put a sound system in it, and you know, get her on the road. That's basically it. Just get her out there and cruising around, man. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time keeping her in the shop and not letting her enjoy a new toy. So,
all right,
that's about it. You know, under the hood.
Yeah. Let's see under the hood.
Not much to see. 1.8 liter.
This big old thing.
It's kind of like a hamster in there on a wheel. You know? Basically it.
Oh, look at all that horsepower.
Loads of it. Yeah, that needs to be cleaned up and freshened up. That'll be one of the things we get to. So, clean up the wires, clean up the hoses, change the valve cover gaskets. I got an exhaust leak to take care of. Really doesn't leak any oil except from the valve cover gasket, which will get changed. Transmission's solid, shifts well. Car's in decent shape. You know, it's just a little dirty and a little crummy, and needs a little love. Kind of like me. You know, I think it'll shine up all right, man.
It'll definitely clean up.
You know, the trunk on it's real solid. It's kind of surprising. It's kind of like I don't know, like a Pandora's box in here. Looking at the size of this trunk, it's like you wouldn't expect much. You really wouldn't. But looking in there, it's like
I didn't even realize the trunk opened like that.
Yeah, the 80s was a strange time for everyone, I think. But I mean,
wow.
Considering how small the car
Holy
is,
moly.
you wouldn't believe that this trunk actually has enough space for full-size spare and you know, a bottle of oil and yeah.
Oh, is that like a cover for the top when it's down?
I believe that is the protective layer for the convertible, and that's definitely the wrong engine oil that was put into the car. I think this guy, I don't even know where you find this. I've never heard of it. Not often, but 540. Car calls for 2050, so that's not bad. So I already took care of that to make sure we didn't damage anything. Yeah, that's basically it. You know, the trunk's pretty solid. Everything's shut solid on the car. You can. It's pretty solid. You know, listening to the doors. It's like one thing you gotta like about some European cars is how crisp everything is. Like it's just for a 1989. There's no slop. There's no just a nice, crisp, kind of clean. It's just different feeling, you know. Altogether, the ergonomics of it just feel different from what I'm used to.
Yeah, you definitely don't hear that in modern day cars either. They don't sound like that no more.
I find modern day cars have kind of lost a little bit of the soul and flavor that makes each car unique.
Yeah.
They have to because of EPA emissions and aerodynamics and stuff that kind of dictates what each car needs to look like. And I guess before that, they just kind of made whatever they thought would look good. But even on these cars, like this is something in the 80s, all the 80s cars had was these, and I think they're a little ridiculous to be honest. You know, some of the things that look goofy about it was these bumpers and how they protruded. Some of them just simply put black plastic like bars on the front, right in front of the natural body line, which completely made every car in the 80s look hideous. At least with this car, they attempted to. I think they called it the 5-mile-an-hour crash bumper, and it was like EPA or standard safety standards by whatever government branch said they had to have it on there. So they just stuck one on crudely on the front of every car in the 80s, and it looked like trash. But at least with Volkswagen, they tried to blend it in a little bit. It's not the best looking thing in the world, but it is blended. It's paint matched to the car, and it kind of fits the body. Seems okay, but you know, you'd have to really get up on it to notice that it's separate from the body. Whereas if you look at some of the 80s model like Corollas or Hondas or anything like that, or any car, they had those gaudy bumpers just hanging off the front of the car. It just stuck out there, you know?
Yeah.
So
my favorite part of this car is definitely the front section of this car. Like
kind of
from the front doors all the way to the grill is my favorite part.
Well, I think it's kind of it's got that reminiscent, what is that, M3 E30, those quad headlights in the front. So yeah, it's kind of a cool look to it, you know. It's what you get when you're on a budget. You can't when
it's
you
a budget
bill.
bill.
When you don't have E30 money, you get that, you know. So that's what you're working with.
Budget bill.
It's a budget bill. I'm not gonna blow smoke. You know, this thing is just gonna be a nice little cruiser. I want it to be a nice little cruiser, and at best, one day in the future, a total sleeper. Because how would you feel getting beat by that, dude?
Yeah.
Like, that'd sting. That you might bring back whatever you bought, telling you want something faster because
It would catch me off guard.
Yeah, because you got beat by that, you know. So I think I find some humor in that. There's definitely some humor. So, but anyway, I think it's gonna be a fun build, man. We're gonna tape some stuff. Not gonna be overly complicated. Straightforward, man. Just basically cosmetics and mechanics, making it work and making it look good while it does it. So
This is a beautiful car, dude. Can't wait to see what it comes out to be. I know already it's gonna be awesome. So we're gonna try to bring you guys along for the ride, show you everything we do to the car, or he does to the car, and it should be fun. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow, and so you don't miss a video or any content. Well, cool, man. Thanks for sharing, introducing the car, and all right. So that's gonna wrap this up. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.